Let's talk about tomatoes. Tomato plants thrive in full sun, so if you're going to plant tomatoes, you want to find a spot that is going to have really great sun for at least 6 hours out of the day. Typically, I plant big boy tomatoes, but this year I wanted to try beefsteak. And it was at this moment that these awful shears I have broke. They need to be retired so I can find a new pair. These tomato plants got a little bit bigger than I had wanted them to. I couldn't plant right after I got them because it started getting a little bit cold here again. So normally I would plant these much smaller, but they just kind of sat and grew before I could get them in the ground. You want to bury tomatoes pretty deep, and you want to cut off those lower branches like I'm doing here. You want all of the energy to go towards the top. I actually bury those branches that I cut off because they can grow. So what you want to do when you get your tomato plant in the ground is you want to look for these little things called suckers. They're small branches or leaves that you really just need to pick off. The reason you want to get these off is because you want all of your tomato plant's energy to go towards the top so that it can grow big. The more branches towards the bottom, the more suckers it has. It's going to try and figure out where it needs to send its energy, and it's going to try and disperse energy throughout the entire plant rather than focusing on just growing taller. Beefsteak tomatoes are an indeterminate variety of tomatoes, so that means that they are going to spend a lot of time growing tall. They're going to produce fruit over a slower, longer period of time. These grow very tall, so at some point they're going to need to be caged or staked. I usually let mine grow just a little bit and then I put cages over them. In the past, I've had some get so tall that they grew way beyond their cages and I had to add a trellis. Beefsteak tomatoes are going to be great for sandwiches or even if you just like to eat them on their own. They are large, meaty, and juicy. And at the last minute, I decided to cut this lower stem off and I buried it so that it has the possibility to grow as well. I have some cherry tomatoes that I also pulled up and planted. I actually had these growing in an area where I did not plant them. Pretty sure a bird or a squirrel dropped the seeds and they started growing. I have found that cherry tomatoes are some of the absolute most resilient plants. I honestly have no idea what variety this is, so I'm not sure if these are going to be determinate or indeterminate. If you have any questions, let me know and follow along as I have several other types of produce I'm going to show you as well.